This video is a little late, but going over the clips that I took from November, post gun season. Trying to get back on deer. The late season, it's the previous video that I put out, is very hard for me. So just doing a lot of scouting, moving some cameras, grabbing some cameras, whatever it may be. Try to get on some deer for the January late season here. So this first one is going to be picking up a camera from that I placed October 2nd. So it was soaking for about 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks, can't remember. But I went out to grab that, and I initially hunted that spot because I saw 2 big rubs and a fresh scrape. So I wanted to see where that buck was coming from. I thought he was going to be coming from the eastern side of the tip, kind of into the bedding area, what looked like, but there was some private right there on the east that can't really go too far into. But so that's the first clip, is me going into there. It picks up when I was in that very eastern side, right up next to private, working my way back west to grab my camera before I got out of there for the day. So I'm out at the island that I hunted early season, where I saw those first 2 big rubs of the year. I worked my way in further towards what I thought would be bedding to see if I can get on a track. So in that 10-point video, I said it's all about patterns. So this deer's coming in, I found a couple rubs up there, small ones, but this deer leaves like 3 or 4 rubs in a little area, and that's it. Not a real good travel rub line. But I'm out, there's a couple small rubs over there. There's kind of this trail coming in here, and this deer kind of leaves like clusters. So here's an old signpost, and following the trail, 2 old ones, I don't know if that one's from last year. We got one here, and then there's one. So he leaves like these little clusters. A little bit further up the trail, old one, and new one here. Some tine marks in the back there. What kind of looks to be tine marks there. So again, this is just a little cluster further along down the trail. So I'm turned back around looking where I came from. There is that fresh rub right there that I just showed. There's a trail coming in here. I didn't see any rubs that way. The rubs are all coming from here, and then there's that trail through there, but they meet right here. They go to this island point. It's a nice, well-defined trail, no fresh tracks or anything. Comes up to the hardwood. In this tree we have some, looks to be tine marks, not a full rub. There's a nice thick trail right there. It goes in. So something's moving through here as well. So now I'm looking back again. This is where I came in, those little rubs right there. That other thick trail is right there. That comes in. This little tree here is tore up pretty high. But I think he's using this route a little bit more. It comes in right here. This is tore off. This is chest high here. Yeah, it could be bending it down, of course, but this is nice and high. This is all shredded. This tree here is hit pretty good. And that one right there is hit pretty good. There's definitely more smaller sticks or smaller trees going that way. A couple other rubs that way. But the big one that I found early on goes down and uphill right at that point. So now I'm gonna walk this edge, see if I can find any more. There wasn't too much along that edge, but there looks to be some trees out there that I'll go check out in the spring that could be some bedding. But now I'm kind of in the middle. Got back on this path, so I was up there Look, he's kind of coming down here. But it's interesting, there's not really many on this edge, which back there it was, but then he comes in here. Here's the one that I saw early season. I believe I hunted that tree, not this close one, the one in the back. That's the tree that I sat in. So I got this nice one here. And it's on this little walking trail, deer trail. Yeah. So I got that rub there. And then this is the scrape. There's my camera. So there was a scrape here. Obviously hasn't been used, but this is the rub that first piqued my interest here, and then that one there. Interesting. So works this, then he splits down, goes up to right side. Not too much to left side though, so I don't know. Kind of like S turns through here, seems like. Not on a straight line. But what got me interested when I first came, it's waist high. This is definitely a mature buck, even though up where I think he's bedding, it's more so smaller diameter trees. Still pretty high, but not crazy. And like this one's, on the lower side. So it kind of leaves all sorts of sign, it seems like. Yeah, quick trip in. I knew there was something here moving super early, and I kind of confirmed where he's coming from. When I placed my camera, I never did get a buck. Got some small bucks, nothing that would leave sign like this, and some does. So there's my camera. I'm gonna pull my camera and head to the next spot. Yeah, so this is definitely a good spot. I was here on October 2nd this year, I just checked. And that rub that I found, the big one, was not tacky anymore, and the scrape wasn't that fresh, it didn't seem. So I'm gonna investigate it a little bit more. It's always worth the walk around. And try to figure it out, but definitely put down a camera in the spring, summer, and see if I can get a better idea of when he's actually working through there. Because I don't think it'll be early enough. I think he'll be moved out. I think he'll be moved out by the time hunting season comes around. I think this is a summer spot, early fall for him before he makes the shift. Could be wrong. That's why you got to monitor it and figure it out more, Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go back in there in the spring. Try to figure that out a little bit more. There's definitely bucks moving through there. Just whether or not it's early September before they shift, or if they somehow shift early October, not sure. But everything that I saw from October 2nd leads me to believe that they're out of there by then. But I think it's still worth monitoring it, dropping a camera, and seeing what I can see. This next clip is going back to a spot in Brighton that I walked in for the first time on November 27th last year, I believe it was, maybe the 29th, can't remember. But I walked the northern edge of this island, wanting to hunt where a little pinch point came together, and I ran across a rub line, fresh rub and a fresh scrape that were right there. So that's where I set up. And right at last light, I don't know how far into the swamp, but I kept hearing stick breaks that were just getting closer and closer, one every 5-10 minutes, whatever it was, splash of water, slosh of water, something like that, stick break. And it just was getting closer and closer. After dark, never made an appearance. So I'm pretty sure that buck was in there late November. So I had that historical knowledge. So I went back in there with a local hunting buddy to scout it out and drop a camera. So we came a couple ridges over, and on this left side here, there was a bunch of rubs. Followed the transition, kind of where that pine is. Looks like he's crossing through here. Now this is all wet. It's all low spot through here. There's a land bridge over through there, so we don't know if he's coming across and looping around or what, but he's definitely traveling this edge. We come upon this trail here, and if you squat down, it's just a straight tunnel straight through here. So we're just gonna keep walking this tunnel trail. There's a couple other trails on the other side of this ridge too that go that way. So I think we're gonna follow this edge around and swing around to the other side. Oh, so we came upon this one here, fresh. No, you're good. And we got this one here, that's fresh. And these two big ones here. And what we noticed was there's the ridge that we came from. So he can sit, and we're down this little ridge here. So the wind's gonna be coming down. So he's blocked by sight. He can smell anything up over that hill. He can stay here and he can see that whole ridge line. Just scan that area as he's sitting in this little spot here, checking up what's ahead. So I think we're getting on him. I think we're getting on his trail here. So we notice the trail coming out of the scrub brush. And it kind of comes up here. There's a little one here. And then this little one here. Opening, clearing. And then if you pop out, there's that fresh shrub up there. On a pinch point, you can see this trail comes right through here. And what this guy Dave recommended or pointed out was, you can see the bark, so their hooves will come and knock this every time they walk over. And this tree here is kind of, there's no moss or anything on it. It's a lighter color than over here. So you see, nothing's been through there, but how much different that looks. Because they're actually walking through there. See that difference? It's pretty neat. Never knew that. So right where that scrape was that I found last year, there was another one there this year, a couple more fresh rubs. And there's a couple trails that kind of intersect through that area. So that's where I put my camera. I set it up there. I got a couple does, never really got anything else besides that, nothing consistent. We found that spot a little bit further to the west, right off that point, that I am certain I'm going to drop a camera there next year, because I think that's where they're moving in and out of. But all that scrub brush to the north, all that bedding, definitely have to get in there in the spring. I'm confident that the buck is living in there, but I just don't know where, so I gotta go figure that out in the spring. Yeah, I never got anything on that original camera. Went back in there a couple weeks after, and where that pinch point, that funnel comes together, there's that water. So I put it up right over that dry bridge, or the dry land bridge clearing, to monitor that. Had a couple does, but then a decent looking 8-point showed up. Definitely a 2.5-year-old. Nothing special, but it confirmed that there's an 8-point in there, and it made it through gun season. So, well, the first gun season, not the December gun season. So, yeah, hopefully he's still around. Go chase him next year. Can figure it out a little bit better. But seems like a good spot. Nothing crazy high priority to me. I found some better sign, in other spots, but it's one worth noting and checking out more for sure. Ooh, tongue twister. This hunt was going to be an interesting one. I scouted it out and I wanted to sit it on October 1st on the opener, but when I drove by, pretty sure I had a clip from it, there was like 8 or 9 trucks in that little driveway or that parking lot area, so I moved on. There was this big oak tree that I scouted out on this little island, and a couple smaller trees working its way into the marsh, and it butts right up against private. And I started that private are fields. There were still soybeans on those fields, so I was hoping that they'd be working out of those fields into the swamp bedding there. So I sat up. It was very, very cold morning. I think it was like 15 degrees or something like that without the wind chill at first light. So definitely a cold one. Sat up in the tree. I got to that original oak that I wanted to sit in, and I didn't see any tracks nearby. So I worked my way in a little bit further, and I still didn't see any tracks, but it was, you know, right on the edge of bedding, and there's no more trees to sit in. So yeah, I climbed the tree anyways. I got up there, got down, nothing. I didn't even see a deer. Oh, I saw a couple deer on, you know, on the private there, but nothing, not even relatively close at all. So there was sign there when I scouted it, but I had no prior information about it. I never hunted the area, never had a camera there. So I was just kind of seeing what I could see, and that was nothing.
Scouted this area. This whole bowl here is a swamp, bunch of bedding, a lot of trails in and out. That tree line is private, and there's ag on the other side of there. And then you see all these, those are bur oaks. And that big tree there is a bur. I was gonna hunt that tree. It's a little island, but there was no tracks. There's a big trail that comes to this tree here. And it goes down there, goes into the bedding. There's a crossing trail there that goes into the bedding. But no luck this morning.
It is Friday, December 1st. Happy no longer gun season. Yes. Very excited about that. But Michigan has a muzzleloader season, December 1st through the 15th. I don't know, like 2 weeks long, whatever it is. And in Zone 3, which is the southern portion of the Lower Peninsula, you can use any legal firearm. So the rifle that you took into the woods yesterday is still legal today. So it's essentially a 4-week-long rifle season, which is absurd. But it is what it is. Finally getting out. I'm running way behind. I didn't plan on hunting today, but decided to go out kind of at the last minute. So by the time I get there, I'll have an hour and a half of legal light left. So I'm not gonna go hunt a spot. I am going to go check out a new area. So go kind of scout around with my bow. So half scouting, half hunting, still hunting, let's say. So just walk around, just be nice and slow, not trample through like I normally do when I'm scouting. It's a rainy one today, but here's talk about some access. I am in a MDOT public parking lot right off the highway. So hoping that this spot is a little overlooked since it's on a main thoroughfare, but all of that behind me, public land. You can find it anywhere. So I'm in this marsh, right? Up on this, there's a bed. There's a bed. There's a bed. Obviously nothing is stayed in it since the snow is still there. Probably early season when all these cattails are up. But in this marsh, nice. A lot of deer trails through here. Tons and tons. It's like a rub. Maybe. Dead trees, so probably not. It's interesting. So coming off this marsh, there's a funnel here. And you have really thick trail going in there. Comes right along and goes right in there. So there's just this little thin little wood line between a thicket there, This is a great spot here. There's nowhere to hunt it though. So it's either in there deeper or in there, but this looks like a great little travel route here. So it's just on the other side, and that trail runs through there. But I come through here, big trail coming out here, big trail coming right through here. And I mean, look at that. Wow. This is a nice little spot here. So skip that spot. This looks better. And if I get up into that tree, that's a long shot. I don't know if that would be good or not. That's pretty long. And I think this one here, no. But this is nice. There's a little rub up there. Well, that's not so little. It's over knee high. Decently this year, it looks like. Huh? Skirting this edge, heading out to that marsh. But all the sign, yeah, it's coming right through here, meeting up with that other trail right there. And you see this browse. And you can see this browse. All of these are all nipped off. On tracks. So I just came from there. You can see the trail coming in. Turned around. Fresh rub. And then it's hit from that side too. That tree's hit on the other side. Looks like this trail comes up here. There's one there, goes that way, and goes that way. So this is a nice little crossing here. There's a tree. I have to be really low. I'm gonna mark that tree right there. Coming out of the clearing, very, very fresh poop. Splits off there, splits off here. There's just trails all throughout here. I would be surprised. It doesn't look like a bed, but I don't know how it couldn't be. Oh, this grass is so matted down. I bet this was a scrape. I'm gonna mark that. Here's some more poop. It's a nice big open field. Oh, there we go. Found the first one. Number 2. Right on the other side of this edge was a big old circle. They dug out a ground blind in that far corner. There's another ground blind. So 4 stands already. Well, 3.5. One previous. So I'm not even gonna head that way. I wanted to, but all the sign was, oh yeah, there's a ground blind. Number 5. All the sign was right where I came from. Not a single rub out here. No scrapes. Nada.
So, no sense in heading that way. Let's head back. Number 6. It's hitting pretty good. But it's actually a good spot. Crossing there. That's the creek crossing. Got another one there. Decent spot, actually. So I'm at the base of that tree. You notice there's an old rope there. And that strap is grown in. And there's another strap hanging. So I would guess that is an old one that no one has used in a while. But it is in a pretty killer spot, actually. I would hunt it for sure. There's a little rub on my way in, so not bad. Here's a cool spot. So this is the trail that I'm following. If I look over, and there's one that's coming here. Over there. That's where I came from, back there. It's just like a little clearing. And you see those trees behind me. Which way do I go? $1 million question. I got some comments on an Instagram post. And I did the difference between a doe trail and a buck trail. On how doe trails are going to be a lot thicker than buck trails are. I'm looking for consistent movement, day-to-day movement. Bucks aren't gonna push through the thick of the thick every single day to travel. And I think this is what a buck trail is gonna look like. So we got the trail coming out of the marsh. And look at that. Look how open that is. Next to it. Look how open that is. There's a really thick trail here. And then there's another one that goes over there. And they'll head to that stuff right there. But if we turn around, it's hard to see with the camera, but there's so many branches blocking those trees that you couldn't even get up in them. No shot. The height of these cattails. So I can't hunt it when they come in. So let's see where they're coming from. So we got these openings. There's one over there too. There's one here. Not sure if these would be beds or if they're just low spots holding water. But there's a lot of water out here. Has me nervous walking, especially with this freeze and thaw. This is definitely a bedding area out here, but there's no rubs. I don't think it's a buck bed. Might be doe bedding or something. My God, this is a tangle. Well, I think that does it for me for tonight. It's either head all the way back there or walk up to this road and walk the road back. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. It's I had about 15 minutes left of light, 20 minutes, so not too much longer, and I don't really want to walk through that in the dark. No. So some final thoughts. Back where I saw that the rubs in the scrape and everything, the fresh poop, I should have kept following that to the, it split. I went one way and it went the other. I think if I would have went the other way, if I would have went right, and then I might have ran into something else, but I went left and found out that human sign. Came out here, there's a ton of deer sign through here. Just no bucks, there's no rubs, there's nothing like that, but a lot of deer sign though, so something's moving through here. I just think I need to head back there and go the other direction next time. Back when I was hunting with Chris in late October, we scouted out, and I'll put the clip in where we walked out in this clearing, and there's this main deer trail, and everything kind of funnels into under this little tree. So I got into there because I knew there was going to be a good amount of deer moving through there. I just didn't know when, obviously. So got up into a tree,
and it was very bright out. The moonlight was very bright. Never needed a flashlight getting in or anything like that. So I could see into the clearing, and it looked really, really clear, like just this little tunnel to shoot through for this deer trail. Light came out, or sun came up, and it was pretty thick. So it would have been really tough to get a shot through there. I didn't end up seeing anything that day, so I got down and kind of kept scouting. And I wanted to go back through where that 10 point was, kind of for two reasons. One, to see if I missed anything or see if there was more additional sign left, since I hunted it. The last time was Halloween, and Chris went in there after me and got the buck. So I wanted to see if there's any new sign, anything that would have kind of made it easier to pinpoint the buck, and as well as being able to look at what I know for a fact is 1 month old sign. So this was early December. All that sign was left early November, late October, so it's going to be a month old. So what does a month old rub look like? What does a month old scrape look like? That sort of thing. And plus I wanted to get across the marsh. I scouted around that bowl of the marsh to find that buck's travel route. And I was thinking he was either going to be coming from this little island on the other side of the marsh or from private. So I went over there, and I was running late, up against the time where I had to leave. So I didn't really film too much on the island, but I kind of found some of his sign. So he was definitely working through that area, but it was more consistent where we killed him. So I wanted to go in there and check that out as well.
I'm in Brighton, overlooking this clearing here that I scouted. The trail goes right there. Following this trail back, comes out, splits. Here's another one right here. These two come together right up here. You have this, highway, massive deer trail, but it looks like everything from all those trees are coming to this one area. There's a couple other trails coming in from this side too, so they probably sweep around, but everything all meets up right here. There's a lot of brush in the way, a lot of sticks in this pine that I'm gonna have to get the perfect shot. It looked a lot more clear in the dark, of course. When I set up, I thought I'd be able to sneak one through, but it's pretty tight. If I could trim like one branch, it would be perfect, but you can't do that. So I'm just gonna sit over this little clearing and see if anything works out of that bedding. I am in this clearing on an oak island, and something to keep in mind is if you hunt like other hunters, you're gonna have the same results as other hunters. Nothing. There are 3 stands in this one clearing. So I'm always one to admit if I'm wrong, and I might be here. But that spot that had the 3 stands in that one clearing, I followed that exit trail out. So the exit trail was just past that broken branch right there. But I walked in, right where my bow is, I walked in there. Big scrape. 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 Big rub. Another big rub. Scrape. And that 10 point, I think it was that 10 point actually, because there's that broken cedar branch. And then coming out here, so here's the exit trail, human trail. Big signpost rub. So I'm wondering, is that, oh, here's another one. Here's another scrape. Broken branches up there. There's that, yeah.
So I'm wondering, I'm assuming it's that 10 point that my buddy Chris got, just because of that one, the size of the size of the rubs, and two, that broken cedar scrape. But I'm wondering, would that have been nighttime sign? Because there's no way a mature buck would be moving through here in daylight with all that human pressure, unless no one's using those stands, you know? I'm not sure, but and I'm close to where we found that 10 point. So it would not mean much for him to walk over here. I mean, it's a few hundred yards. So that's interesting. Now I'm questioning everything, which is good, which is always good. Here's that bowl that the 10 point was circling. I originally went in there somewhere. I walked that transition, found the trail that looked the biggest and headed in. That's where I found all that fresh sign that looped all the way around. And the kill spot was up there in those clearings up there. So there's trails through there, trails through here. And I was in this spot trying to find out where he was coming from. There might be something else in here, I'm not sure. On this rub here, very, very fresh. And I say it's fresh because you still see the shavings. Kind of smell a little bit too. Everything just got rained on, so everything's wet, but that is a fresh rub. So that other one is right there. And there's another one. Shavings are down there, still green. Whoa. And here's a fresh but not that fresh rub. So you can see the sap. It's not runny, so it's frozen, or it did freeze, but it's still tacky. You can feel it's tacky. The sap isn't dry, it's not white. There's no shavings on the ground anywhere. But this was definitely recent. I'm thinking it was from the Big Ten. I'm right in his area, right where Chris killed him. So I'm pretty sure he was sitting in that clearing back there. There's a bunch of rubs and scrapes over there, so I think that's where he was. But yeah, it's cool to get back out here and kind of do I call them postmortems for work, where you kind of review everything afterwards after you know more information, put the pieces together a little bit better. It's pretty neat. But it's good to come back to this area, because like right here, there's a scrape. There's a scrape behind me. It's good to come back too, because it's one thing I learned from Dan Infalt, is that you need to know how to age sign. So if I came across these scrapes, right now in an unfamiliar area or something like that, now I know what a 1 month old scrape looks like. The dirt is all smooth, it's not scratched up, there's definitely leaves in it. The dirt isn't, well, I guess you can't really tell because it's rained, but when it's dried out and it hasn't rained and you scratch it, this dirt's going to be wet, this dirt's going to be dry, so this is going to be black versus kind of a grayish. But yeah, I mean, here's this guy's telltale. Broken cedar. I didn't want to touch all this when I was scouting, but now it doesn't matter. So very neat. A lot of good learning opportunities here. This is a great view of what a deer trail right through here, what I think is a buck is traveling, versus if we come out here and that parallel deer trail, what a doe is traveling. I've never really had this happen to me before, but when I was walking in for that morning hunt, again, it was another really bright one, so I didn't need a flashlight very much, but turkeys were roosting right there, and God, that scares. If a turkey leaves its roost in the dark and you didn't know they're there for the first time, it scares the shit out of you. I don't care who you are. They're loud. They're loud birds. So I walk in and I flush up probably, I think it was like a dozen of them that I flushed up, and I'm just like, obviously they're making a ton of noise, and I pushed them to right where I was going. So they're all roosted around me when I was sitting there. But it was cool because I got to film them a little bit. They were clucking and gobbling a little bit. It kind of broke up the morning monotony of not seeing any deer. So just being in nature, seeing nature, being a part of nature, all that stuff is half the fun of hunting. So it was a cool experience. Unsuccessful hunt, but very cool nature filled experience. Yeah, that's kind of the recap of my late November, early December hunts. I didn't get out much. I don't like hunting gun season. I don't like being out in the woods when there are hundreds of thousands of people out with guns. I don't like wearing orange. I don't like anything about firearm season. So it was a welcome 2 week break. But I was definitely going stir crazy. Definitely getting ready to get back out there. And now all of my experience and knowledge from last year is up. So now it's time to focus on the late season. Hopefully you've seen the video where I'm starting kind of this new get back on deer series for December or for January. So I have a couple videos that I'll put out here shortly as well about walking around and trying to find some January hunting spots. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something from scouting videos. And if you know where deer are in Oakland County, let me know, please. I need some meat.